In your book, you begin by producing this really interesting sort of lineage. And you start with Kony 2012.
Yeah.
And you end with Dicks Out for Harambe.
Yeah.
In 2015, 2016. So maybe start with Kony 2012 and talk to me about why you chose that as a sort of like formative moment in this cultural shift.
Okay, because what I was thinking is that irony is so central to all of this. And the reason that nobody knows what's going on and nobody knows who's for real, who's really a Nazi, who's really on the far right, is because internet culture is so laden with irony and with, playfulness and tone that it makes it very hard to know. And within that kind of irony is also kind of a deep cynicism, So it's like, I thought the Kony thing was funny because I remember when it happened, loads of people that I know who would never share something like that now were all sharing it and going, oh, this is, really important that we all get behind this.
You're almost a monster if you didn't. So explain to if somebody was living under a rock or if they were in solitary confinement in 2012, 2013, and they don't know what Kony 2012 was, maybe explain that a little bit, how that unfolded.
Okay, so it was a video that was made about a campaign to arrest and to stop, I suppose, Joseph Kony, who was a kind of a war criminal. And the idea now, of course, that a bunch of like Western kids on Facebook or whatever would be able to just click this thing and stop these kind of major like complex African political rivalries and territories and things like that we would be able to have influence on that level now seems really naive. But at the time, people actually did, people still very earnestly did these things and clicked on whatever it is that you were trying to stop or to promote. And so within a very short time, 2 days or something like that, all the criticisms started to come out of the Kony thing. Everyone had shared it and said, yes, this terrible man must be stopped. Critics said that this was just a kind of clicktivism and, that this campaign was all about the vanity of the Western filmmaker, that kind of thing. And then the Western filmmaker had some kind of a breakdown and ended up like running around naked, like masturbating, and then
I remember that because they were going campus to campus in a tour bus, right? In the was it the Lost Children or something to that effect?
Yeah.
And he was showing this to campus kids, who just really got off on this stuff, the slacktivism, clicktivism that you talk about. Yeah, and he had a breakdown on his tour bus and was running around naked, screaming that God was talking to him or something.
Yeah, and so I just thought it was a nice example of a kind of broader trajectory, which is from that very earnest, kind of like Obama moment, where people were all virtue signaling, but people wanted to share in these kind of really positive moments and, didn't feel, I suppose, the weight of some cynic kind of, telling them they're wasting their time or whatever. But then how quickly it went from that really earnest kind of clicktivism to the fun of watching someone humiliate themselves. And the kind of the group, pack sort of fun of observing this humiliation. And, which has become this kind of unstoppable force online. There seems to be kind of no end to the amount of entertainment we can get from watching someone humiliate themselves. So I thought that was just a nice example of, a kind of a tragic absurdity. And, that's kind of the end of the Kony 2012 story is much more characteristic of the way that internet culture moved kind of after that,